Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James, the channel that brings you Rangers news every single day. Guys, please obviously smash that sub, ring that notification bell, and come and join the channel that brings you free news every single day. Right, we're going to talk this morning about the reports that are emerging from a number of media sources, including Team Talk in the UK, that suggest that the San Francisco 49ers would be prepared to wield the axe on some of the higher earning older players at Rangers in an effort to modernise, reduce the age of, and also improve the squad as well in Glasgow, and certainly move this club forward. And I'll talk to you a little bit about why this kind of follows a kind of a pattern that is developing with Jed York, with Parag Marathe and the 49ers. We're also going to talk, obviously, a little bit as well about, obviously, the game coming up on Thursday. And just as a quick advertisement, we did do a pod last night talking about Rangers need to change. That is on the homepage now. Check it out if you haven't already done so. Right, look, let's talk about the first reports that are coming out now. One of the stories that are coming out of the States, which have been reported by a number of British media sources, is the San Francisco 49ers will look to continue to reduce the age of the Rangers playing squad and also continue to reduce wage bills, etc., as they seek to rationalise and make the team more fit to move forward on a financial basis. The 49ers have identified a number, apparently, of older players and more experienced players that they do want to ship out. Now, according to reports, one of those players is Rangers captain James Tavernier. Tavernier is obviously the highest wage earner at Ibrox at this moment in time, on an eye-watering for him and for Rangers £30,000 a week. Look, whatever you think of James Tavernier, whether you're the biggest Tav fanboy out, whether you can't stand the guy, he has served the club very well. He has scored a number of very important goals. He has obviously at times brought the club through some difficult times. However, I think we've reached a point with James Tavernier where he is coming to the end of his time at the club. He is slowing down. He certainly defensively is a lot worse than he was, and he certainly wasn't great defensively. Certainly, it's always been the attacking side of his game that has kind of kept him in the squad and kept him as the captain of the club. Many people as well, of course, within the fan base associate the lack of trophies and the lack of winning with James Tavernier as captain as well, whatever you think of that, obviously. However, it emerges from America that the San Francisco 49ers would be looking to axe Tav this summer, sell him to obviously recoup some money on him. Now, this is for a number of reasons. One, because of course he is out of contract at the end of next season, so obviously he'll be able to walk for nothing. And as we've said on a number of occasions, this is exceptionally bad business to allow players to just walk for nothing and leave, having brought no money into the club. Secondly, he is certainly one of the older players, and obviously is the highest wage earner, so this would be a cut they would be willing to make. In addition to that, of course, his performances have dropped off this year. He certainly has not produced, the numbers. Yes, he is the top assist leader, don't get me wrong, but in a very poor team. And he is obviously, had a vastly reduced numbers this year, possibly due to the fact he hasn't had many penalties to score goals. But look, at the end of the day, it is a situation that the 49ers do look like they're going to want to make changes, and those changes include bringing a new sporting director, bringing a new manager, bringing a new captain. Now, why could this story possibly be true? Well, you look at how they operate in America at this moment in time. The San Francisco 49ers organization, the franchise, the team, is world renowned for being one of the oldest teams in the NFL currently, with a number of very older end players, especially players who are injury prone, players on high wages, players who earn a lot of cash. Now, not according to anyone, from what we've seen already this off-season, the 49ers have cut an awful lot of those older players and shipped them out. I can mention names here. Probably to some of you, these names will mean absolutely nothing. But, likes of Javon Hargrave, Dre Greenlaw, who else has gone out? Talanoa Hufanga. A lot of the older end players have been got rid of, and obviously a lot of the injury prone players have also been got rid of in an effort to reduce the wage bill, to increase their cap space, and to lower the age of the team. Certainly if you listen to the organisation out there at the moment, they want to found a younger, hungrier team, and I think that is what they are seeking to do in Glasgow with Rangers, is to found a younger, hungrier team. Now, one of those moves could well appear to get rid of James Tavernier. That could be their first move. Now, this obviously will upset some and will elate others. Look, personally speaking, I think that it's the right time for this move. James Tavernier is coming to a point where he is, really starting to divide the fan base. He is really starting to, I think, with some fans get on their nerves now. And also, I think he is not going to get any better. He hasn't got a lot of pace left to lose. Defensively, he's still poor. And we need to move forward. We need to move this squad forward, move this team forward. I think we need new leadership at every single level. Now, that is also at the captaincy level on the field as well. Now, people may say that, well, captains don't really matter. Well, I'd argue with that. If you look at good title-winning teams or great title-winning teams, they've always had great captains, great leaders. That's certainly something that James Tavernier isn't at this moment in time. And like I said, I think he has suffered from remarkable drop-off in form, drop-off in talent, drop-off in ability this season. And it's not just me saying this. Go and listen to Heart and Hand. David Edgar's said this. Before anyone wants to come and slag me off as a Tav hater, go and call David Edgar the same thing if that's, that's what you feel. But look, at the end of the day, this seems to be, like I said, it could be a load of rubbish, of course it could, but it does very much follow on from the way they are working in the States with the 49ers roster. They are cutting and getting rid of a lot of the older players, the injury-prone players. I'm not saying Tav's injury-prone. I'm just giving you examples of what they are currently doing in the United States of America with the San Francisco 49ers. So it could well be a move that happens this summer. Look, apparently a number of clubs in Italy, Turkey, and a couple of clubs in the lower leagues in England are interested in James Tavernier. Now, I think a lot of it will depend on wages. Obviously, he's unlikely to want to take a huge wage cut, earning as he does £30,000 a week, maybe making a move to the continent more palatable to Tav, even possibly a move to Saudi, where obviously big money is on the cards. But it does appear that Rangers will seek to regain some money for their captain this summer. I mean, it was obviously heavily rumoured last summer, wasn't it? Even Fabrizio Romano at one point was reporting the interest of, the likes of Besiktas and Trabzonspor in James Tavernier. That obviously those moves never came off. But, look, there was obviously interest last summer, quite why Rangers didn't allow that to happen, or maybe it just wasn't true. I mean, I'd be inclined to believe it was true if Fabrizio Romano has been reporting it. Now, the stories on the other hand, of course, suggested that Trabzon and Besiktas weren't prepared to meet Rangers' asking price for Tavernier, which was thought to be around 4 or 5 million. Certainly, I think that's vastly overvaluing him at this point in his career. Certainly 2-3 years ago, that would have been undervaluing him for his impact that he had. But now, I don't think that overvalue. I think that overvalues rather than undervalues him. Look, guys, whatever you think, let me know in the comments. I'm expecting an absolute torrent of abuse from the Tav fanboys for daring to suggest this, as we get every single day. There really is a cult of personality amongst some at the club. Right, let's move it along, guys. Let's talk a little bit of Thursday night. Obviously, it will be another European night at Ibrox, another massive Europa League night at Ibrox. And look, no matter what has happened, I think, it would be so Rangersy, wouldn't it, to go and beat Bilbao after what was an appalling performance at the weekend. As Barry Ferguson said, it seems that these players very much do pick and choose when they turn up and when they don't turn up, and they certainly do seem to turn up in Europe on a regular basis. Now, one player they will not have to face in the game at Ibrox is, I think, Athletic Bilbao and Spain #1 goalkeeper Unai Simon. He has confirmed he will not play in the game on Thursday night, and Bilbao will continue with their rotation policy, which means that, and here we go, Julian Arregazabala will be in goal for Bilbao, which hopefully will give us a little bit of hope. Obviously, Unai Simon as Spain's #1 and as Bilbao's #1 in domestic football is one of the best in the world. So that is a big lift for Rangers that he will be out. Now, I've seen and heard so many rumours as regards lineups, ways of playing. I mean, look, I think Fergie will go with 3 or 5 at the back. I think he will go to make it as defensively solid as possible. As Bilbao will obviously come and they will attack and they will have a go at Rangers. I think that is an absolute definite, for Thursday night. You know, that they're not a team that will hide. They're not a team that will sit in any sort of shell. I mean, another positive for Rangers is you look at Bilbao's recent form. Yes, they've played 4 games and not conceded in 4 games. However, they've only scored 1 goal, and that was a penalty in those 4 games. So they're not in the best attacking form. You know, look, whatever happens on Thursday night, I think everybody, well, not everybody, I think the vast majority of people, especially those who are not Rangers fans, expect Rangers to get absolutely trashed by Bilbao. But as we've seen on numerous occasions in this Europa League, anything can happen with Rangers. Any result is possible due to obviously a Rangers Thursday night, a Europa League tie, seemingly bringing these players to new levels that if they showed this all season domestically would absolutely walk the SPL, wouldn't they? They'd walk the league if that was the case. But look, you know, we're going to preview the game tonight on the pod at 8 o'clock. Maybe, I don't know, I might have to delay it tonight. I've got a few family things to take. I'll update in a community post what time the pod will happen. But yeah, I will be there to talk to you and take you through a preview of the game. Look forward, obviously, the more of you join me, the better that makes it, guys, to have you obviously offering your suggestions, your comments, especially as we talk through the starting lineup. We do want to obviously have a little discussion around Jack Butland and Liam Kelly tonight as well in the podcast. Look, I don't know what's going to happen Thursday. I'm just hoping for a good performance, you know, a positive performance from the boys. It will be tough with Dio and Souttar suspended, especially with Souttar suspended. I think when he's not in defence, it does substantially weaken the defence. I think the defence on the whole, no matter what you think of John Souttar, does look better when he is in the team. Right, guys, thank you for watching this morning. As always, on the way out, please like, comment, share and subscribe. And remember, always, we are the people.